Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am the Autoimmune Dietitian, and I cover all things related to nutrition and autoimmune disease and inflammation. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Annie. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist, and I run a private practice focused on people struggling with symptoms from underlying inflammatory and autoimmune conditions. A lot of my clients experience things like pain, digestive issues, fatigue, brain fog. And so I use nutrition and help them create a personalized nutrition roadmap really designed to improve mobility and concentration and energy levels to help them live the lives that they should be living. So today we are focusing on exercise and inflammation. Did you know that exercise can actually reduce inflammation? Moving your body every day is a great way to feel better and improve your mood. In addition to those benefits, you can reduce your chronic inflammation with exercise. One of the best side effects of exercise is how it impacts inflammation. Why is this important? Because chronic inflammation affects or even causes almost every autoimmune disease. In fact, underlying symptoms of autoimmune diseases improve when we minimize inflammation and oxidative stress. However, too much exercise can actually increase inflammation. If you overdo it, you may end up making your disease worse. So today I'm breaking down the science behind exercise, its anti-inflammatory properties, and why moderate exercise is important. So before I jump in, I just need to attach a disclaimer to this video that the information in today's talk is not the substitute for the diagnosis, treatment, or care of disease by a medical provider. This is for informational purposes only, so please consult your qualified health professional for any changes to your medical care. Okay, so how is exercise beneficial for inflammation? Well, the first thing that it does is that it can influence the balance of your helper T cells. So helper T cells are an essential part of our adaptive or acquired immune system. These cells activate other cells to produce antibodies. They attack invaders and also help clear out infections. And there are two types of helper T cells. There's your Th1 cells and your Th2 cells. Each of these types of cells release different chemical messengers called cytokines that perform a specific immune function. So Th1 and Th2 are balanced for most people. However, in autoimmune conditions, there is an imbalance where one type of helper T cell is dominant. If you want more information about this, I wrote a great blog called Hormones and Autoimmune Diseases on August 4th, 2021. So you can go to my website. The link should be in my profile to go check that out. It gives you more detail about how these cells, these helper T cells kind of interact with autoimmune diseases. So now, how does this tie to exercise? Well, exercise can actually help shift the helper T cell balance to lower Th1 production. And so this is especially helpful for Th1 dominant diseases, including things like multiple sclerosis, inflammatory bowel disease, and rheumatoid arthritis. However, if you do have a type Th2 dominant disease like lupus or Sjogren's syndrome, exercise can still provide many benefits. The second thing that the exercise does is that when you exercise, your muscles release anti-inflammatory agents during exercise. So exercise obviously causes your muscles to contract, and contracting your muscles release something called interleukin-6, which is a cytokine. It is both an inflammatory cytokine and an anti-inflammatory messenger. However, IL-6 released during exercise actually helps to reduce inflammation. These anti-inflammatory benefits work for moderate exercise. When exercise becomes more prolonged and intense, IL-6 actually does stimulate our cortisol production. Cortisol is our stress hormone, so more cortisol puts more stress on the body. Exercise can also lower oxidative stress. Oxidative stress refers to the imbalance of free radicals and antioxidants in the body. Free radicals are these nasty little particles that float around in our body and damage our cells, our tissues, and our organs. And antioxidants are those things that kind of capture those free radicals and stop them from harming our body. Our body gets stressed when there are more free radicals than antioxidants, and this is called oxidative stress. So low to moderate levels of exercise can actually lower oxidative stress. In a 2013 study of elderly people, simply walking 30 to 60 minutes twice a week lowered oxidative stress levels. So exercise is great, but there is a point where exercise can actually affect us negatively. So exercise at low and moderate levels is really good for our bodies and minds, but when it starts to get to an intense level and for an extended period of time, that is where things start to break down. A review from 2017 found that exercise for 2+ hours at a 60% VO2 max. VO2 max is the maximum amount of oxygen a person can actually use during intense exercise. So when you're at the 60% VO2 max, that's when things start going in the red. So exercise at this intensity and duration redirects the blood flowing to the intestines, out to the muscles, the heart, and the lungs where it's needed most. The problem with that is that the redirection of blood flow injures your intestinal cells, and it also weakens those tight junctions in between cells, triggering leaky gut. So for those of you who have ever, done like a very intense workout, or you've gone for a long run and all of a sudden your stomach is like totally off and you're having to like sit in the bathroom for a while, that's what's happening. So with your intestine more permeable, think something called lipopolysaccharides, or LPS, which are inflammatory endotoxins that kind of hide out in your intestine, can actually pass through your intestinal lining and enter into your circulation, which can trigger more inflammation. Exercise can also increase the production of reactive oxygen species, or technically free radicals, which can also increase intestinal permeability. And prolonged and intense exercise can also increase inflammatory cytokines, as I mentioned earlier. Based on one review study, TNF-alpha was elevated after longer and intense exercise sessions. So these sessions are over 1 hour. And both IL-6 and IL-1 beta increase with intense exercise as well. However, low to moderate exercise levels can improve inflammatory markers and change the gut microbiome in a positive way. So just to recap, today we focused on the ways exercise can reduce or increase inflammation. Now, if you are someone who needs a little help motivating yourself to move, my advice is to start off slow. Because again, being sedentary is also inflammatory. There is something called a J-curve to exercise. So if you have inflammation like on an axis, and you have inflammation on this axis, and then like time or amount of minutes you exercise on this axis, as you start to increase time, you go from high inflammation to low inflammation, and then there is a J-curve. So it does, at some point, there's an inflection point where too much exercise can actually start to increase inflammation again. So it's called a J-curve because it's shaped like a J. But so being sedentary is inflammatory, and having too much exercise is also inflammatory. So you need to be somewhere in the middle. So if you are currently sedentary and you want to start moving your body again, start off slow. Try walking for 10 minutes a day, or simply park your car far away from the entrance where you're running errands to fit in those extra steps. Once you start building up a solid base, you can go up from there. It just takes a little patience, planning, and effort. Recovery is key for managing inflammation if you're a regular exerciser. So it's really important, if you are an intense endurance exerciser like myself, you need to take those days off. You need to let your body recover in order to reduce inflammation and keep it at a lower level. So for those of you who would like help managing your autoimmune disease or your digestive issues, or just reducing inflammation, I would love to chat with you. I offer free 15-minute discovery calls to chat about your goals and to see if we are a good fit for each other. So head on over to my website, and you can go to my contact page and reach me there. Also, I have a new freebie on my website. It's called the Top 10 Anti-Inflammatory Foods. Download that. There's some recipes in there. They're my favorite inflammatory foods list and why they help to reduce inflammation. So go check that out. And then lastly, on my website, you can sign up for my weekly newsletter. I put out a lot of great information on managing inflammation with food and lifestyle. So check it out. You can unsubscribe anytime. You won't hurt my feelings. But thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button. I do this about every week. There's always a new video relating to something about nutrition and autoimmune disease and inflammation. So catch me next week, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks.